Hey guys, today I'm bringing you Melissa Krivachek. From growing up in a small town of 300 people to becoming the ultimate sales badass. Here's her story. Hey guys, so I'm really looking forward to today's episode. I'm bringing you Melissa Krivachek. Hopefully I said that right. I just practiced it like 3 times. And here's the funny thing is I usually get people to send me their bio, so as I'm reading through it, I can cut them off. Well, Melissa's like, screw all that. I'm not giving you a bio. So I'm going to let her introduce herself today, what she does, and her story. So, Melissa, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about your world and who the hell you are.
Thanks, Donnie, for having me. I did say see LinkedIn,
Well,
so
you know, I don't follow rules.
Yeah, it's all good. So, official bio would be I've made Forbes and Inc. magazine's 30 Under 30, Evolution magazine's Top Power Player Under 40. I've written 10 books, 7 are international bestsellers. Have a show. It's called The Millionaire's Hot Seat. I've interviewed more than 250 millionaires, top 1% of U.S. executives, Entrepreneur of the Year for state of Minnesota and Iowa. So really I'm just a whole lot of failures have gone into all these successes.
Okay, so first question would be is, what the hell haven't you done?
I haven't done my sales summit yet.
All right. I'm looking forward to really diving into there. So there's a lot of awards, prestigious things. So now tell me your story. I love hearing people's journey, right? How did they get there? Because nobody grew up in sunshines and rainbows and, all of a sudden the world popped up and you're living the lifestyle of the rich and famous type things, right?
Yeah. I still don't live the lifestyle of the rich and famous, but
come on, with those accolades, you should be like, a multi-trillionaire or something.
Yeah, right. Working on it.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, I have had good financial success, so I am definitely blessed and not complaining, but let's go back to the start. So I grew up in a town of 300 people. That's not missing any zeros. That's in Iowa. And so when I was 7, we couldn't afford a bike, so I door knocked, and then I eventually went and did my own babysitting. I did
so
lawn
300
mowing.
people, you surely hit everybody's house.
Oh, yeah, more than once. I got all kinds of stuff to sell, right? Greeting cards and popcorn and pizza and whatever you need, right? All the junk that we eat. Nice. All right. So I've been homeless. I've maxed out 5 credit cards. I've been 50 grand in debt. I've, been evicted. I've done all of the crazy stuff, but my craziest definitely has been, I literally gave everything away and I went to India. And so, there's every day you're going to run against some resistance. And you want to try to be as, ease and flow as much as possible, but there are going to be failures.
Always. So what sparked the India thing?
Oh, I got married, and it turns out the guy already had another wife for the last 12 years. So, it's one thing to go to a third world country. It is another thing to deal in a situation that I dealt with. So dealing with that in America would be a completely different scenario than dealing with it in a third world country.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm sure trying to come back through customs and through lifestyles and everything else was a very fun experience.
It was amazing. No, actually, I arrived back with a backpack. I only lasted 29 days in the country, and the life there was really, really rough. It was all about sleeping on a yoga mat, eating 5 cucumbers a day, water off the side of the road. If you wanted a chicken, you would just go out on the streets and kill it. There were rats running everywhere, pollution, garbage. It's not even comparable to absolutely any type of poverty we have in the U.S. They are 2 completely different worlds.
Wow. So, but I mean, outside of being a cultural shock,
Mm-hmm.
There probably was some great life lessons that came through, going through that portion of your journey. What was probably your biggest takeaway, other than making sure somebody's not already married before you marry it?
I was just going to say due diligence. No, I mean, seriously though, you have to open your mind to opportunities that present themselves, even if they end up in failure. So I don't regret it. I mean, I love the guy, so there's nothing to regret. Would I do it again? Absolutely not.
Okay, so good. You're not a glutton for punishment. You learn from your mistakes. I love that, right?
Most of the time.
So what happened after you left India and you came back to the U.S.?
There was a period of time. So this just happened last year. So.
Oh wow, that was really quick.
Yeah. So like last year was definitely, one of my worst years, but in terms of income, most of that is because like I just didn't have a home after that, and I was like a lost soul, because when you go through a divorce or a devastation, or a loss that's that tremendous, it takes its toll, especially as a female. So you can't just show up at work and be like, oh, rah rah, let's go, right? It's more or less like I need time to just find myself and be myself and know that everything is okay.
So this is a kind of a wild. I love this story. So at this point, had you already received like the 30 under 30, the awards and accolades? So how does somebody that's so smart and intelligent, so accomplished, make a bad choice? I mean, because society puts people that have done all these great things on pedestals, right? And you're not allowed to be human, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
so how does that happen? I mean, how do you go from the top of the world to feeling like you're under it?
So I think in terms of success, we oftentimes correlate great relationships with that, but then we end up with failed relationships because we're forcing that relationship. So I wouldn't say the relationship was forced by any means, but what I am trying to say is that everyone that's had a massive amount of success goes through these periods of relational chaos. So it's either divorce or multiple marriages or not getting married because I'm so rich and famous, or like everyone that has some kind of status has some kind of relationship issue.
I like it. I don't think it's that black and white, because my relationship's amazing and my wife's beautiful and I love her and she thinks I'm crazy as hell and it works out great. But I think you're right. I think with status comes with weight, so it's a matter of handling that. So how did you go about in 10 books? That's a lot of books to write.
Yeah.
What's the major theme throughout all your books?
Love, success, and happiness. Business, sex, sales. I basically like write about life and what it's like to be successful and to have great family values and to come from a small town in Iowa and be able to come out of that and actually make something of myself. So at the end of the day, I wasn't born with the tools and knowledge and resources. I had to be resourceful. I had to find the tools, and I had to connect with the people that could elevate me. And that was done through libraries, through YouTube, through just social media, and through the phone. So I still do the same things that I did 10 years ago today, because those are the very things that work.
And that's interesting because so many people, go through their life and they're thinking, well, she can do it because of X, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times people hear stories like yours and they're like, yeah, whatever. She, had something else, right? They always put there's an and but type thing on the back of it.
Sure.
How do you tell somebody that is in that kind of same scenario, somebody who's living in small town America, having big dreams, they're watching things online? How do you help them make that transition from I'm seeing it to doing it?
Self-confidence. You have to build your self-confidence and self-esteem. So whether you do it by yourself or with a team of people, whether you go to the gym or whether you read books that uplift you and watch YouTube motivational videos, you have to build the confidence to be able to ask for the help and then actually ask for the help because you need it. And then that's how you're going to work yourself out of your situation. I remember I got my first really nice house. It had 5 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms, and it was at the end of a cul-de-sac. And my sister came over and she said, hey, maybe if I lived in this neighborhood, then I would be as successful as you are. I was like, it doesn't work like that. Do you not know that I just spent 3 years of my life in my parents' living room trying to build a successful business? I didn't have a car. I didn't have a personal life. I did not date or have sex or anything like that. I literally was so dedicated to skilling the art of my craft that there was no time for any of that. And still to this day, I don't take weekends off. I am literally all about focusing on what needs to be focused on. So there are periods of time where I focus on my relationship, periods of time where I focus on my business, and periods of time where I focus on myself.
Right. And so I think a lot of people get this fantasy realm that people naturally go from nobody to that overnight success.
Doesn't happen.
Right.
Absolutely does not happen.
Yeah. How long did it take you to really transition from little town in Iowa to where you felt like you'd hit some sort of level of success? And success
I still don't feel that way.
And that's humbling, right? Because
I really don't. I mean, I've been all over the world. I did 7 countries the last year, and I've lived in California and St. Louis and everywhere else, and I still would not say that I have the level of success or attain the achievements that I want to attain.
Okay. What were you traveling all over the country doing?
Sales.
So
I love to do sales. So running a consulting firm and building a sales company.
Okay. All right. So what's success for you? Because, I mean, everybody has to define success in their own words. You know, how do you know when you've hit some sort of level of success?
If you can wake up every day happy and fulfilled and consistently do the things that push you towards a goal, then you'll never attain a level of success because you'll keep increasing the level of your goal.
So, but a lot of people look at success and they're like, well, I've got to be rich, or I've got to own this, or I've got to do that.
Sure.
You know,
you get those things and then you're not happy. Believe me, because I've had all those things. So you get them and you will never be happy until you can have nothing and have everything and still know yourself.
Ooh, interesting. Do you think people spend enough time trying to understand themselves?
No, absolutely not. I do not think that 99.9% of the population could shut off their smartphone for more than 5 seconds, could get rid of all the social media and email apps and all the other noise that's happening. I had this conversation yesterday with a guy. I could hear Skype dinging in the background. I'm like, what is that noise? And he's like, I have anxiety about who's on Skype and what email am I getting and what Facebook, update someone's posting. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, that's like, I feel like that's all of the population. That's all we're concerned about is who can we compete against rather than who can we become so that we don't have to compete.
Right. You know, it's crazy is the cell phone has become, as Gary Vaynerchuk puts it, you know, the remote control of the world. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how I've always called it your electronic leash. You know, my wife coined that phrase because she's like, don't worry, I can find you no matter wherever you are, anywhere you are.
Oh, God.
which I love because I'm always connected to her. Growing up, we had pay phones and pagers. I mean, not to age myself too much, but.
I mean, you got to send a letter in the mail.
Right. We'll go far back as, Pony Express and everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had a very fun ride. What did you do to get Entrepreneur of the Year?
I actually didn't know that was coming, so I always just maintain my integrity. That's number one. If you don't have integrity, then you have nothing. You don't have a business. So in the last 10 years of being in business, you will not find anywhere one negative review on my business. You won't find it. Most of the people that have interacted with me have, stayed with me for a long period of time, and I don't like one-off transactions. So when companies go behind my back to give me awards or accolades and they call my clients, they're finding out that I care. Like, I genuinely, compassionately care about people. I will go above and beyond whatever you paid me to deliver more value to make your life easier and better and enhance your lifestyle.
That's a beautiful thing. Was that something that was naturally ingrained in you, or did you learn it throughout the years?
So when I started my show, The Millionaire's Hot Seat, it's nearly impossible to get in front of millionaires and say, can I basically have 30 minutes of your time? Because you know for sure their time is way more valuable than yours. So I took a completely different approach, and I said, let me provide as much value to you as possible, and in exchange, can I have 30 minutes of your time? And that has worked to build relationships with some of the world's toughest people to get in front of. And those are the exact relationships that will elevate you to new statuses. And you can find these people on social media, but they're not going to react to you without a reason.
Right. You know, a mentor of mine gave me great advice very early on in my life, in my career. He said, you know, you don't call up the top people in the world to get a conversation and say, hey, buy me lunch. You flip the conversation and say, let me buy you lunch, right? Let me do this for you. Then can I ask a question, right? It's you do first and then ask, you know, something in return. This Millionaire Hot Seat, I got to be honest, I'm not familiar with it, not see it. What are you doing in there, part of that process?
Yeah, so it's 10 questions, 30 minutes. If someone doesn't want to answer the 10 questions, then I just don't have them on the show. Like, so the questions are like, what's the number one thing you would tell people to stop doing today that could dramatically change and impact their life? Because we all want to do more, but if we do less, we could be more impactful. Like, what are the habits and disciplines that you use to create success in your world, whatever that looks like?
Right.
So it's really about having conversations with people who have had massive financial success. And when I talk about millionaire, I'm talking about 1 million cash in the bank plus additional wealth and assets. So this isn't millionaire like you just have assets. This is cash. So the other thing that I do to enhance these guys' lifestyle and really build our relationship is December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I invite them to my house for 3 days. And, you know, the majority of them don't show up, but the ones that do, I have a private chef, a massage therapist, and for 3 days we just network and mastermind. And it's really just a small, amazing group of entrepreneurs that provide tremendous value and get to know and learn more about each other without ever having to actually, you know, do another email introduction or another text message introduction or anything like that.
That's awesome. You know, I got a couple of questions in there. One of them, don't let me forget to ask, is, you know, what's your biggest takeaway from doing all these interviews? But before I get there, how would you tell somebody that doesn't have the ability to host these people at their house, you know, to get the private masseuse and the private chef and all that stuff? How would somebody else be able to get a conversation with people at that level of financial success to be mentored or to get advice, those type of things? How would somebody else approach it?
Yeah, so one of the best ways to do this actually is just to comment on their YouTube channel, comment on Twitter, comment on wherever they are the most active, where they have the least amount of followers. So, for example, when I first met Grant Cardone 8 years ago, I tweeted him and I continuously tweeted him random sales articles, and we built a relationship off of that. I would not go to his Facebook page because he had hundreds of thousands of followers, and there's no way he could ever interact or respond with that many followers. So you go where there's the least resistance, but where they're currently active.
Oh, that's actually pretty damn smart.
Yeah.
Did you come up with that on your own?
I did.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. I love that out of the box stuff, you know.
Yeah, so the other thing that I do that's totally out of the box that people don't do anymore is on Facebook Messenger, there is a voice option. I will literally leave every single friend that friend requests me or that I don't know a message that says, you know, hey, Donnie, social media is only as social as we are. I would love to get to know you, add value to you, and be of service to you. If I can do anything, even if it's as simple as an introduction, certainly let me know. I'm totally passionate and obsessed about sales. So that's where my expertise lies. But feel free to reach out to me. My phone number is this, and I leave my phone number. And you'd be surprised how many calls I get back because no one leaves voicemails anymore.
Right. No, it's true, and I love that. And coming from you and hearing your story, it's genuine as hell. You mean what you say. Love that. So going back to interviewing all these millionaires and having these great conversations and spending days with these, what have been some of your biggest takeaways from those conversations that would be valuable to other people?
So the focus isn't necessarily on making money as much as it is on providing value and doing the things that could elevate your status, meaning that you have to find consistency in your daily routine. Drink water, eat healthy, work out, meditate, do the things that provide clarity, increase productivity, give you tons of energy. Like everything is an energy source. So if you're just hanging out at Starbucks, the level of energy that's in a Starbucks cafe is not good energy. It's just not. And so you have to go where there's good energy. The same with some churches, the same with, some businesses, the same with some co-working spaces. You just have to find what works and elevates your productivity, your energy, and keep yourself consistently focused on the things that matter the most.
That's interesting. I think a lot of people look at a lot of things you just said as kind of that hocus pocus of, do I really have to do all this workout? Do I have to do that meditation stuff? Do I need to journal? All those type of things. How real is that stuff based on your conversations? I mean, I have my own opinions, but do you really believe all that?
I mean, I do it, so I can't really say I don't believe it.
Right.
I believe it 100%. Yesterday I went and got a 90-minute massage in the middle of the day. Today I'm literally in a park walking around making phone calls. Like, I just do what feels good for me. And I've never seen a millionaire that doesn't believe one or all of those things. That's sort of what just makes them feel alive and keeps them able to work as long as they're working. Now, what I will say is that I was on a television show the other day, and they asked the question, how does somebody get past $10 million a year in revenue? And my response to that was get sleep and drink water and build systems in a team. And they said, well, that sounds pretty simple. I said, you know what? You could hustle your way to $1 million. There's no question about that. Stay up day and night and day and eat whatever you want and do all the things that you want. But at the end, you're going to feel lethargic. You're going to feel worn out, and you're going to be burnt out. So how effective is that? That's not a real business. That's a hobby. So if you want to go to 10 million or beyond, or let's say even above $1 million, you have to do these things. These are the very things that take you higher.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things I heard in there is, well, I think what a lot of people that aren't at some level of success may have heard is you just said, I got a massage yesterday. I'm walking around a park right now. They may be associating that success is doing what you want, whatever you want, whenever you want, and there's no work in there, right? Right?
Oh, well, I'm working right now.
Well, no. You and I get it. You and I get it. Right? So talk specifically about, it's not about doing what you want whenever you want. You're always working.
Yeah, so it's the focus, it's the energy, it's the productivity, it's the ability to do all of these things consistently over long periods of time throughout a day and sustain that energy. So you can't just, the difference between a job and this is the fact that if I go to a job and I work a regular shift and overtime, it's like I'm working 7 a.m. to, let's just say, 8 p.m. I get 3-4 breaks, I get a lunch, and then what, right? I go home and I sleep, and that's it. That's the day. With this, it's very, very different. I can effectively work 4 hours, take a quick 90-minute break, work another 4 hours, take another quick 90-minute break, work another 4 hours. That's 12 really highly productive hours without lethargic.
Yeah, without burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you've got a lot of crazy cool things coming up, a lot of big stuff you're working on. Walk us through all the fun things you have coming down the pipe.
I just got one thing. It's called the
It's
Ultimate
big.
Sales Summit. Yeah, no, it's huge. So it's at the Star in Frisco, Texas, October 6th and 7th. We anticipate about 18,500 attendees. It's designed for salespeople. Tickets range between $297 and $7,500 bucks. And you can find all the information about the speakers and everything at the ultimatesalessummit.com.
Nice. And how did you come up with this whole concept of this big old thing?
Well, massive failure. So all this failure has led to the point where, like, even as I attained these certain levels of success and made, significant money, I still was unhappy and still was unfulfilled and still wanted to add more value. And so because I'm so obsessed with this, and so passionate about the world of sales, I know that sales is the absolute only career field that will change the legacy of your family tree. So it has become my mission to break the chains, to allow people to build wealth, asset portfolios, get better educations, invest in their families, have time to have fun and the freedom to do the things that they want, and most importantly, just have the lifestyle and cars and homes and vacations and everything else that comes with that, based on the fact that they are successfully implementing all the things it takes to be great in sales.
Yeah, but how do you combat the people who are like, God, I don't want to be a salesperson. I can't be a salesperson,
Everyone is a salesperson. So you don't have to sell to be a salesperson, right? I just have to have this conversation. And if you believe me, then I've sold you. And if you don't believe me, then I haven't sold you, because we haven't built that trust and rapport between us. That's all sales is trust and rapport. It's nothing else.
I love that philosophy. I always tell everybody sales is nothing more than a conversation that has an outcome, right? Mm-hmm. And you got to be okay with the outcome no matter what that outcome is. So that's a beautiful thing. So this is a sales conference coming up, and it's October, right? That's what you said?
Yes.
I know it's for salespeople, but salespeople at what level? Who's this really put on for?
Yep. So you should generally make between $50,000 and $250,000. If you're a VIP, you'll generally make way more than that. You can be in sales in MLM and car dealerships and insurance. You could be in real estate. You could be in business to business. You can be in all various types of sales positions. You could be an executive. You could be an entrepreneur. Regardless of whatever your position is, you have to know and understand the value of going from a cold contact to a closed contract.
Love that. So from this whole big seminar, this big summit, what are the biggest key takeaways you hope that people get from attending this?
Two things. Number one, this is not an energy drink. So you're not going to come for 3 days and get motivated, rah, go home and have nothing to implement. You are going to implement because you're going to be educated and entertained at the same time. So I expect you to walk out the door, leave and go implement whatever. Go call your office and tell them to change this or change that so that you can make more and have more efficiency and better productivity and clarity. The second thing is that all of these events are pitch fest. This is absolutely not a pitch fest. We are not allowing pitching from the stage. So it's really important for people to understand that they're not coming to be pitched. They're coming to be educated and entertained.
Love that. So as we come into a close of this whole thing and wrapping up this fun conversation, which has actually been a lot of fun, thank you. If you were to give somebody just the advice that may impact or help them on their journey as they continue moving forward and taking on life as a whole, what advice would you give them?
It's very simple. For the next 7 days, write down every single thing that you're doing every 15 minutes, 24 hours a day. The reason that you want to do this once a quarter is because you're going to find out what you value. I suspect, like most people that have gone through this exercise, that you say that you value family and friends and fitness and faith and all of these things, but when we look at the breakdown of how you're actually spending your time, none of that's actually true. So we need to figure out what your core values are versus what you say they are, and then do the work and make the time for those things.
Oh, beautiful. Great advice. An awesome tip. Awesome tip. So Melissa, thank you so very much for being on the show. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for the great insights and value. Best way for people to get a hold of you?
Melissa at melissakrivachek.com, or you can just call or text 563-419-1101.
Beautiful. Thanks again, dear.
You got it. Thanks, Donnie.
What a killer episode with Melissa, man. Thanks for tuning in. Do me a favor, please comment, share, tell me your thoughts on this, and really, I'd like to know what you think.